that 21st century, I was 20th century then, confirmation then validates the hints and rumors and intimations in those ancient texts.
Sure. So
but the text was
are you positing that the Nazis had a space program?
No, no.
No.
They wanted to. They were building toward it.
Okay.
I'm looking now very seriously into the possibilities for that kind of technology that early on. What I find is a very interesting pattern as we get deeper and deeper into the whole Nazi era, who they were, what they believed, where they came from, their lineal roots, which goes back much further, it looks like, hundreds of years, than the brief flurry just after World War I leading up to World War II. The Nazi philosophy, the idea that human beings are not from this planet, that there's this special race of Aryans, Aryans, Aries, Mars, that may in fact be grounded in some ancient documents which have been super secret, kept and revered and deified almost, is not beyond reality. I just don't happen to have copies with me this afternoon. I'd love to see some.
Okay, are you in touch with scholars, for example,
yes,
that are specializing in that area?
Absolutely. In fact, one of them is a really cool guy that you guys should interview. His name is Joseph Farrell.
Okay.
He is in South Dakota. He will be here in January. He is coming here so we can have he's an Oxford scholar. He's an Oxford PhD. Mm-hmm. He's written 5 books on this subject. He meticulously footnotes, documents, tracks, references, unearths amazing memos and a paper trail. And he has given me, as a serious scholar, who also is a pretty nice guy, an amazing new window on the antecedents for the Nazis that the U.S. government brought over, buried in the core of our own space program, who seem to have had their own agenda, apart from Eisenhower, Kennedy, and the American people.
Okay, so you say, what do you say, Werner von Braun? Mm-hmm. You say...
Kurt Debus.
I'm sorry?
Kurt Debus.
Okay.
Who seems to have been somehow involved in efforts to create an amazingly interesting alternative rocket technology that's not rocket-based for space travel.
Free energy-based?
Field propulsion.
Torsion-based?
Field propulsion,
okay.
Which is a way of manipulating space-time. So on the one hand you get anti-gravity, on the other hand you get free energy.
Okay, so when was he operating?
Kurt Debus?
Yeah.
From paperclip through the entire Apollo program.
So this is the end of the World War II.
World War II, through the 50s, into the 60s, into the 70s, and he was made the head of Cape Canaveral / Cape Kennedy after Kennedy was assassinated. And he has this entire secret background that never once has come out in any official document from NASA or any other place.
Now, how do you know about him?
Because of Joseph Farrell and his stunning research. Okay. He's got German documents. He reads German. That helps. Mm-hmm. You know, you've got real scholarship. We have always been, those of us looking at this cutting edge of the transition between fake history and real history, we've always been limited by the fact that there have been basically a field of amateurs. Some of them are talented amateurs, some of them are idiot amateurs. I have a phrase which of course has been made true over and over again: amateurs can get you killed. But people like Farrell are not amateurs. Mm-hmm. And when they have turned their expertise in scholarship, trained at a place like Oxford, on this problem, you wind up with 5 amazing books that document page after page after page a real hidden history, the alternatives to what the Nazis were doing technologically and politically, and how they almost seamlessly continued by going from one set of sponsors, i.e. Hitler et al.,
right,
to another set of sponsors, i.e. the U.S. government et al., without even a break for lunch.
Okay.
And in the book, we have this stunning picture of von Braun and all these paperclip scientists standing under a kind of a cute Western motif. It's a sign hung on spindles up above the assembled scientists. And it's a UFO. It's an actual cutout in the shape of an unidentified flying object / saucer craft.
Okay.
And in the middle of it, there's this big swastika.
Oh,
This is in the United States of America after we won the war.
right.
And these guys are on shore leave away from White Sands into El Paso. This was a curio shop. It's called Bob's Curio Shop. And the photographs and the enlargements are in the book. And of course, the reason that the swastika on it is so stunningly important, as we describe in rather great detail in the book, is because the swastika was a symbol that Hitler stole from history, going all the way back to the Vedas, this ancient Indian tradition that talks about spacecraft and nuclear weapons and vimanas and all kinds of astonishing high-tech stuff back at a time when there should be no such high-tech stuff. And what Hitler did was to take it, co-opt it, and use it for his own political and propaganda purposes very consciously, because what the swastika is an insight into an entire different level of reality, which I term hyperdimensional physics, out of which you get, on the one hand, if you really do it right, anti-gravity, making rockets obsolete, and then free energy, making centralized power plants and centralized power and the control of people through the price of oil also obsolete. So on both hands, you've got under proven now Nazi research and development efforts during and after World War II. You've got the keys to liberating civilization all over this planet. 6 billion people freed. And someone is sitting on that truth, and it's one of those three groups running NASA secretly, the Nazis. Very useful.
So, but what I'm wondering now is, so we've got these three groups. You've talked about the Nazis and the...
We only talked about two so far.
Right, but that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Is what I want to know.
We haven't really talked about the Masons yet.
Well, not a whole lot. No, not at all, really. So take us to the Masons and the magicians, and how do they work into NASA, along with the Nazis?
Well, the Masons, of course, founded the United States.
Okay.
I mean, Masonic tradition of philosophy is a stunningly important adjunct to the advancement and evolution of the human species. To, you know, the old Army phrase, be all that you can be. Masons are not bad guys. Masons are good guys.
Are we talking about Freemasons?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They are heirs apparent of the Templars, you know, from the Middle Ages, who became very powerful by finding something in Jerusalem, you know, under the Temple Mount. They became the most powerful organization in Europe. They literally, you know, owned Europe, in essence. They created a free banking system. They created so many modern institutions that we would recognize, you know, when you go to your ATM. And then Philip the Fair, the King of France, in 1307, on a Friday the 13th, lowered the boom and killed a lot of them, imprisoned most of them, chased some of them, and never found a lot of the important stuff that they were keeping secret, including an awful lot of money. An awful lot of money. And the rumors have been that the money was stashed up at a place called Oak Island, and that's why FDR and other Masons periodically have funded or gotten private funding to go and try to dig it up. And that's a whole other story for a whole other video.
Sure. What about the magicians?
The fact is that the Masons were the good guys. Now, when you are, I mean, James Webb, who was Kennedy's administrator of NASA, handpicked, was a 33rd degree Mason.